father who says, you're my son. First understand that. You're my daughter. And folks, here are the truths that I saw when I learned this story about the Father and when I saw that picture of Jesus embracing and God embracing me when I came home. This is what God asked me. Did you ever take a look at my face when I came home? When you came home? Did you ever take a look at my face when you came home? And saints, sons and daughters of God, I got that question for you. Did you ever stop to see his face when you came home? You know, we all live in a world that's so me-centered that we make our salvation even about us. And we think about how our sins are forgiven, how I got joy, how I got peace, how I got relief from sin. And all of that is true, folks. That's critical. God gives all of that. But did you ever stop to see the look on his face when you came home? That tells you the kind of God we serve, folks. If you believe in a hard, exacting man who says, what did you do with the one talent? You're going to get that kind of God. But if you see the prodigal father, the father who lavishes his love on us, do you see the joy on his face? Do you see the relief? My son is home. Do you see the satisfaction on his face that his daughter has finally come home? And folks, when we come home, he not only asks us to embrace him, but he also brings a feast. And I wonder, folks, when we get to the feast, if we know that there's a feast prepared for us. A big feast with a fatted calf that's being killed and lots of celebration. That's what God says happens when a sinner repents, when a sinner comes home. And the devil's not invited to this party. But he's standing outside and he's peering through the glass, his face pressed against the window, and he's saying, you don't belong at this party. This party can't be for you. I know what you did last summer. I know what you did last summer. 2, 3, 4, 5. I know what you did last night. You don't deserve in this party. You don't deserve that robe. You know how many times you've broken that robe up and thrown it away? You don't deserve it. You don't deserve the ring. You don't deserve the sandals. And you definitely don't deserve the fatted calf. This feast is not for you. And folks, God's bringing us in to say, you got to look at the Father's face. You've got to take your eyes off of all the problems you have and look and consider what Jesus feels, what God feels when you come home to him. If you're a mother or a father, you'd know what I mean. When son or daughter comes home and they've been out, and you wonder where they've been. There's no I told you so's. Did you know God feels about you that way? And it gets better, folks, because this is where it started to really hit me. You know, I think we think about the lost son just about the heroin addict out there, the murderer on the street. We think about those living rebellious lives, and we think maybe even of ourselves before we came to Christ. But maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's the Christian who's been trying to be a Christian for so long. We've been trying, folks. We've been trying so hard to be good. We're trying to live out that WWJD bracelet that we wear. But we keep getting in the way of our best intentions. We don't want to get angry. We don't want to be mean. It just comes out that way. And people look at us and say, man, you want that kind of religion? I don't want it. And we're beat up, folks. We know we're not acting like we should. And we're sitting in the pig farm and we finally say, God, I've had enough. I'm going to come home to you. But I come home and I don't want to get an embrace from God because I am dirty. So when the Father comes shamelessly running out to meet me, I go like this. You can't hug somebody with your hands folded. And I say, God, I'm too dirty. You don't know where I've been last night. And he says, you've got to hug me first. And you've got to come home and have the feast. And folks, we stop sometimes we allow God to embrace us, but we never get to the dinner table with God. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hears his voice and come in, I will eat with him, and he with me. He wants to have dinner with us. And we come home and say, God, you don't know me. I'm dirty, I'm filthy. I don't want to have dinner. Can I have room service? There is no room service in the kingdom of heaven, folks. The kingdom of heaven is not a hotel. It's family. And you sit together in the family. And Dad's there. And folks, I've been there too for many, many years, folks. I have been there completely forgiven. Known that I've been forgiven for years. But never completely assured that my Father loved me the way I am. And I kept listening to the lies of the devil. You got to try better. That the table of God was not for you. And God was saying, you've got to look at my face. You've got to see the joy I have. You've got to see how happy I am that you're home. I've spoken all over the world on forgiveness. It didn't make a difference. I've spoken all over the world about Jesus. It makes no difference, folks. It makes no difference if we don't get our arms around the fact that we are completely loved. It doesn't mean we do whatever we want. We love. Why do we love God? We love because He first loved us. Not because He's getting you to heaven. Not because He's got some country for you to run in heaven. We love Him because He first loved us. And when I take my eyes out of what God loved me, I start working to Him for a reason. I start working to Him for pay. I start preaching theories. And my life is in shambles, and my life doesn't match up to what I'm preaching about. And the non-Christians around us look at us and say, I don't want to follow that. They don't see people loved. They don't see people who are secure in their Father's love. And so, folks, I've been in the corner way too long. And kind of like AA, I have to take it one day at a time to deprogram my mind from all the bad logic I've been using in my head. The world tells me I'm not good enough. I've told myself I'm not good enough. But God tells me I'm a saint. I'm a son and I'm a saint. A saint is a sinner who comes home. A saint is a sinner who gets up. A saint is a sinner who keeps getting up. A saint is a sinner who gets up out of the pig farm and says, I've had enough of this, I'm going home. And a saint is a sinner who, when he sees his dad running down the road to embrace him, he says, I'm going to open up my arms. I don't know why you'd embrace me when I'm all dirty, but I'm going to let you embrace me. And a saint is a sinner who, when God invites you to the table, says, I'm going to eat with you. And I'm going to tell you how my day was. I'm going to tell you how I messed up. That's the God we serve. He exalts over us with shouts of joy. He brought us to His banqueting table. And He threw a party. And the balloons were all there. And the banner over me was, I love you. I love you, my son. I love you, my daughter. Would you come home? Let's stand.